This is the premiere of the new edition of David's book, or David Flynn's book, Cydonia, The Secret Chronicles of Mars. And I have some interesting things I think you will enjoy seeing. I have a video from 1996 of Dave doing his first attempt at media. And I was telling everybody who was on earlier that uh, Dave at that time would probably be extremely angry with me if I put it out in the public, which I'm going to do. Just, of course, I've already looked at it ahead of time to make sure it's not too bad, but I thought it was pretty good. So I wanted to put that out. I have some other videos too, and pictures, and I just wanted to be able to show you that. First of all, though, an important thing to do would be, I think. I'd like to read the acknowledgements starting out. And since I can read it online now on Amazon, I'm going to do that. So this edition represents a labor of love and dedication made possible only by the generosity and expertise of several individuals to whom I owe profound gratitude. First, I would like to thank Tom Carroll, whose exceptional professionalism and skill in book layout, editing, and cover design has elevated my father's work immeasurably. Tom not only offered his talents and expertise, but did so freely and with genuine enthusiasm, wanting to ensure the highest quality results. His unwavering care and commitment to my father's work has been instrumental in bringing this edition to fruition. I'm also immensely grateful to Timothy Alvarez for his tireless efforts in promoting my father's work. Through his influential media presence and generous advocacy, he has helped introduce this book to a much larger audience than I could have imagined. His support has meant more than words can express. I'd also like to thank Dean Hugh for so willingly offering his expertise in image restoration. More importantly, this book is the creation of my late father, David Flynn. As his daughter, I am honored to have had the opportunity to work on this project and ensure that all the errata from the first edition has been carefully corrected. This work is a testament to his legacy, and my heartfelt thanks go to him for creating something so enduring and meaningful. To all who have supported this journey in ways big and small, thank you. With sincere gratitude, Ticey Flynn. And Ticey's there she is over on the left, right in the middle. Thanks, Tice. I thank you, Ticey. I mean, you had the perseverance to see the job through. And I had a sort of a lame-brained idea, way to go about it. I won't get into the the personal reasons for that were going on. We were having problems getting the copyrights, so Dicey
Yeah.
made that happen.
Yeah, I was happy to do it for sure. It was a process, but it worked out great, I think. So,
I think so. I'm getting a hard copy through you, and
yes.
hopefully a bunch of them that I can bring if Timothy has another conference, sort of give them out.
Fingers crossed. Your
Okay, so
pleasure.
so I am going to try to share my screen here and do it correctly. Let me see. So this is I determined from 1996 or 7. This image is what it was called the Julia set, this crop circle. And I remember putting it on the wall in this room. And I can't remember if this was a room in my house or Dave's. I'm pretty sure it was Dave's house. But I can mention, can you see my mouse while I'm doing this, everybody? Behind him is a very archaic sky map. And I said, hey, you should have something really cool going on in the background. And so what I did is I turned on Sky Map on his computer, and then I made it uh, like cycle through days. You'll see it slowly churning, with these computers. You can see he has some 5 1/4 floppies in here. This is the age, so 1997 or so. Let's see. Let me know if everybody can hear.
My name is David Flynn. I'm in Missoula, Montana, USA. I'm the author of Watch Your Website Ministries, and our research has delved into the understanding of UFOs, the UFO phenomena, so-called alien manifestations, alien abductions, and related paranormal phenomena that's associated with uh, the paradigm of alien cultures existing outside of our universe. Recently, there's been a twist to this paradigm, which states that aliens exist not only outside our sphere of influence, but in another dimension, perhaps other dimensions. This is a more accurate interpretation of the phenomena that's been taking place. It's more accurate because the UFO phenomena is a spiritual phenomenon. It's also interesting that the UFO phenomena occurs at the forefront of history with the advent of the New Age movement and the belief of self-realization that men have not achieved their full potential, and then in fact, if they do realize their full potential with aid from the UFO or the alien phenomena, we will achieve godhood. It's a real interesting package because of information, because this is exactly the same lie that was told to Eve in the Garden of Eden. Satan said to her, "When you eat of the fruit of the knowledge of good and evil, your eyes will be opened, and you will be like God." It's interesting that throughout the Bible, Satan is represented as an angel who can transform himself into an angel of light, whose power in the angelic hierarchy.
Oh.
Sorry about that. That is my brother Dan, right around the
Mhm.
same time, and we're at the shooting range. So I'll stop sharing. That's right. I have another bunch of things to show you here. Um, yeah, that's the type of thing that happens when you're using sort of an analog form of recording, like a Sony Handycam was back in the day. Someone just grabs it and starts doing what they want to do on it, and they overwrite what you wanted. So, let's see here. Going back that far, share again. The thing that was going on only was the Watch a website. That was that was it. Um, there was kind of a struggle. I mean, Dave was having a struggle getting the information out in some way, but really simultaneously with his ideas, the internet came out. And this is the result. So that was back in, you know, the late 90s. And this is a later version of the site. It was run by Dave's wife Brenda. I wrote a script that made all of the URLs local, and, archived it. I have a couple versions, but you can see this one's from quite a bit later. Um, let's see if I can think. So let's go up a couple years. I think I woke up today, being very happy, and I thought, yeah, there was an event that I sort of forgot about, and that was when Dave was going to go down to Roswell for the first conference right after he wrote Cydonia. He called me at work because he was going to come meet me at my house, and they were going to drive all the way down to Roswell from Idaho Falls. And I get a call from him, and he says that his car broke down just outside of Big Sky, Montana, which is just south of Bozeman on, I think, the Gallatin Highway, they call it. And back then, there used to be an old bar or something. All that place is built up because it's really expensive land now. But he waited the whole time until I arrived, and it was a uncharacteristically really hot beginning of July. I mean, it was really hot. And I think the reason I remember that is he had just filled to the brim in the back of a Ford Taurus, Cydonia, Secret Chronicles of Mars. I mean, the original one. I don't know if I have a picture of it here. And so we transferred them all over to my car and headed down to Roswell. And as he was doing it, I think I took a picture of him. And later on, and the reason I was looking for all this stuff is because I thought, oh, I could find the picture of Dave with this strange, weird UFO in the background that we saw later. I know I have that picture, but I just couldn't find it. But I found some of these videos. Um, Let me show you the other video. And it's amusing to me because it's the type of thing that we used to do all the time. Let's see here. I have it queued up. So I'm showing Dave this truck. This used to be my dad's. After he passed away, I got it. And it used to be just junked, and I was showing it to him. I kind of fixed it up. It was pretty cool. I really regret selling it, you know. But let's see. I really have to crank the volume here because there's a thing I was thinking that was really interesting to me, and that was just out of the blue, just a couple days ago, Dave. I remember Dave saying, "You know how to know whether the moon is waxing or waning. You just think of Hebrew. It's read from right to left. So if you see the shadow progressing, you know, either on the right or left side, you know whether it's waxing or waning." Oh, that's really great. I just happened to find this video today where that event occurs. So it's really hard to hear. I'll try to turn up the volume, but I'll show you.
As clean as it's ever been. Doesn't do it justice. I need a wide angle lens. Hey, you know how you can always tell? You know when you see the crescent come out and it's like going away or coming out? You know how you always know? Because it moves just like it moves from right to left. It's like your script. You hear the script. Cool. So it's actually waxing it. So if you know that, then you never forget it. Then you can. Whoa. And it has a digital zoom, so once it gets to its limit, like you've seen that truck.
Yeah.
Okay, this type of thing is what we do when you come over. He'd show me stuff. I think we'd drink Lagavulin and smoke cigars, that type of thing. So yeah, I thought that was unique. I think this is actually on my YouTube channel. Of course, I didn't really put an explanation. And honestly, if I look at it again today, I couldn't really tell you what he was talking about. I could sort of sketch it, but make a sketch of it, the ideas. But I wanted to also show you, let's see, from that first time, right? So this occurred right about the same time Dave wrote his book. So that house you just saw him standing in front of, in my basement underneath the stairway, I had this cheap little computer running some version of Linux, and I made the forum here. It was completely open to the internet, completely unsecure. Didn't really matter though. You know, I had it backed up. I think it actually got taken over a couple of times, but you know, I just redid it, no problem. But this forum, and at the time in the internet, was the purest time I can ever think of as far as the internet is concerned. Absolute realness with people, no propaganda, no media selling pressure for clicks or anything like that. And the people who were on this forum just were from all over the place. And it was a great time. And I think I met a couple people at the last conference who actually remember my handle from that time, Dude5, which I still have. I still use from time to time. So Anyway, I scraped this, and so it's local to my machine, but I can go through and see a lot of the stuff that was being talked about at that time. Let's see. Oh, that's not. There we go. And so you can see a lot of Dave's. He was Newton 2012, and he did a lot of posting. So that was at end of this was a great era, and I don't think there'll ever be anything like that again. So anyway, that's what I wanted to show everyone. I meet people, and they say, Dave's book was like something that changed my life. I've heard that more than once, like at least 3 times, 4 times, 5 times from people, and it's always surprising to me. And the fact is, Dave was very modest about his work. He wouldn't have. I don't think it would have been published if it wasn't for Brenda sending it to Hoagland. And I have one last story. I think when we were driving back from Roswell that first time, um, I had this intense urging to do something I considered a prophecy. I said, "You don't realize, Dave, how important your work is, and one day you'll see it in hardcover." Spirit speaking through me. It only took a quarter of a century, but hey, it worked out. Oh, I have a couple more things I wanted to share here. Let's see. Let's see if I can get it to go. I have images from the first conference that I don't think everybody's seen. Yeah, there we go. So if I was on a Mac, I could just sort of highlight them all and go through it. Oh, there we go. That's what I'm looking for. Here's an Australian guy. Does anybody remember his name? Oh, what was it? Deo? Stan Deo? Remember Stan Deo? Let's see. The guy that wrote Stanton Friedman, is that Stanton Friedman? Help me, guys. Just yell out if you get a chance. Yeah, they both look like they really like each other. Dr. Future, what was his name? Dr. Future. This guy was a genius. I think he had a whole bunch of patents under his name, and he just had a radio show. Sorry about not remembering people's names. Um, oh, Ticey, do you know his last name? Schobelin?
That's
He's,
Bill Shoblin.
yeah, Schobelin. I
Bill,
always
Bill
pronounce his last
Shoblin,
name.
and it was Tom Bionic and Doc Future for
Thank you. Thank you, Chad. Tom Bionic and Dr. Future. Let's see. Patrick Heron, what a great guy. He wrote Pyramids of the Apocalypse. Invited all to his place in Ireland. We had some great beer. I always remember his saying, you can't fly with one wing. So you got to always drink 2 pints of Guinness. He sadly passed away at least 10 years ago. I don't know exactly why, but it's interesting how many of these guys are gone now. Oh, let's see. He was the head of the Black Lodge website. I don't remember his name, but he's still doing what he's doing back then. He's a very well known journalist, at least in the UFO realm. And then, of course, the iconic Hoagland, Dr. Heiser, and Dave sitting. I think this is the part where Hoagland was saying Dave's book needed some work because of the errors. The one that really got to him the most was Werner von Braun got changed to Herman somewhere, thanks to Steve Quayle's editing team. That really rubbed Richard the wrong way. So let's see any more of these. Oh, yeah. So I'm going to put this in the video at the beginning and the end with URL. Thank you, Tom, for that. I mean, this is beautiful. Wow.
Awesome.
Epic. Very epic.
I'd like to hear Tom talk about his inspiration for the book cover.
Oh, yeah.
yeah, the book cover. I think initially you had the old book cover, Ticey, and you were just going to reprint that one. And I was like, if this is going to be a new book, this is a great opportunity to sort of do something new. So I just took like, I don't know, maybe a week or so just to just try out a whole bunch of different ideas. And I think probably the thing that I love the most of the Cydonia thing is obviously the region of Mars itself. And it just, in my imagination, it just goes wild thinking, what did that look like? You know, that civilization in that region on Mars. And I just tried a few different things. And I tried to do something with the actual face, but it just never seemed to look quite right. But then, for the paperback, we went with that sort of futuristic landscape with Earth in the background. So it kind of still has that same idea of the original cover of like the link between Mars and Earth. But I sort of flipped it around, putting Mars in the foreground and Earth in the background. Then just the aesthetic of it it's got that sort of retro sci-fi feel, which I really like. The sort of 1960s sci-fi novel design. So that was. And then the second one, the paper, the hardcover, that was just some alternative ideas I was throwing out, and because I was thinking the other thing that's incredibly important to the whole work is obviously the Ouroboros, that what he starts with in the beginning of the book. I think Mark, you said you really liked that cover to use that one as well, so we just decided to do
did. Yeah, it was a
two
group
different versions.
choice. I mean, Ticey would send the stuff that you sent her like right away, and I was very opinionated. I'm like, well, that one. But usually it's the one she liked too, you know. And
I think we always agreed on the same ones.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah, I think especially for the paperback, I think we all like that one the best. That was the.
Yeah. I especially like the UFO in the back. The very subtle blips there speak to it. Well done.
Some of the inspiration actually comes from the. I don't know if you guys have ever seen the sci-fi show The Expanse.
Oh yeah.
Has anyone seen that? So the intro, I absolutely love that intro. That whole aesthetic and the sound, the soundtrack, and just it's got a bit of that sort of raw feel. But that was part of my inspiration. And I think when you look at that intro, you'll see that they go through the different planets, and it shows you those little blips of like spaceships that just look like white stripes in this screen. It just shoots by really fast. But that was sort of part of it. But
it also reminds me of the crabwood glyph. That crabwood glyph kind of feel to it. I mean, it couldn't be more perfect. So.
Yeah,
and I love the font too. The font really is awesome. Let me share that again. The font is awesome. Look at that E there. Oh, that's an E.
Very sci-fi, yeah. I've got a whole bunch of other designs that we haven't used. I was wondering if we could maybe print some T-shirts or something.
Oh, that'd be cool.
But,
that would be great.
Tom, do you have any of those other designs handy that you could share right now?
I could do, yeah. Just pull that up.
We're putting you on the spot right now.
It's my fault, Ticey.
That's okay. I think I've got them here. Design, yeah. There's 22 different.
The one that for sure needs to be the first T-shirt is the crabwood glyph icon from the Watcher website.
That would be cool.
Can you guys see this?
Yeah.
We can see.
That's the first one I did.
That's
sort of the same concept. I quite like this one too. It's sort of very ominous, maybe a little bit too ominous.
Oh wow!
Sure. Yeah. It was so hard to choose.
Mhm.
I
Right?
bet.
Good Lord.
Uh, sort of a bit more of an artistic version there. That
Well,
one was pretty cool
there's
too. It
no
looks
reason why from one year to the next you couldn't do third printing, fourth printing.
Yeah.
yeah, you could do that. Yeah,
The only problem is I would have to buy them all because I'm already getting both copies just because I love the covers so
Well,
much. So
we will be
Yeah.
too, of course.
Yeah,
no
absolutely.
thanks to you, Tom, for
it's a good way to keep the revenue going, isn't it?
Yeah.
Hang on, my headphones are dying.
right. New covers, same juicy content.
You know, there's those of us that would make sure that we had a copy of every one of them.
Right?
Yeah.
This is
Yeah.
like Land of the Rising Sun. I like that one too.
Cool.
Oh,
That is definitely from like the
This one.
science magazine
That
covers
is-
that you
yeah.
see.
Yeah.
You know,
a
That
bit,
is
Mhm.
neat.
yeah. I quite like this one too, the big pyramid.
Mhm.
Although it should be a
hectagon,
hectagon,
hexagon.
five-sided, whatever that's called.
right.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Here I tried to sort of play with the face. You can see the face there, but
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
yeah, if there's ever a movie of Cydonia, we could just use these as posts.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was that
That
one
is
reminds me of what's the that
Prometheus.
no the
That one.
the alien abduction, the first alien abduction movie. It was
Close
like from Close Encounters. That reminds me of Close Encounters.
Yeah.
Oh, Tom, these are all brilliant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome.
A whole bunch of variations on the Ouroboros.
Oh, that one's cool.
That was a bit.
That's actually good.
Wow.
Yeah, there's loads here. So yeah, maybe we could just start a t-shirt line or something.
Yeah, that's pretty neat.
Do something with them. Here's a bunch of different things he tried. I think that's it. Yeah.
Oh, brilliant.
This
Brilliant.
one actually, I don't know. This one reminded me of the circumpunk, the Masonic symbol, but I don't know if that's the right message to put on the cover. But it was the idea of
Might
having
sell a
Mars
lot
at the
better.
center. Yeah.
That was
Well, they set one on fire in Milan underneath the bridge there, the bridge of Jupiter. I thought,
yeah.
Chad, you'd be very appreciative of all that symbolism.
Yeah.
A
It's very
circumference.
significant. Very
Anyway,
significant.
I'll stop share. I think that was all.
Oh, thank you, Tom.
yeah, that was thanks.
Those are amazing. So thanks for asking that, Andre.
Mhm. I was thinking it, so thanks for saying. But we were muted, so.
Mhm.
I unmuted me. Incredible. So, Chad, I noticed you had your hand up. You were going to share a story about the
Well, yeah, I
your
think
introduction
Mark
to
was-
Cydonia.
Yeah, Mark was asking beforehand when I was talking with him earlier about this and sharing in the promotion of the relaunch of Cydonia. I was asking Tom about his story to coming to Cydonia, and I guess I just wanted to share kind of my journey and how it impacted me. The punchline first is it changed my whole life, and I can say that with great confidence. I would not be sitting here. I would not have my wife Trisha, and I would have not written my book myself that was inspired by those works. My whole life changed because of David and Mark's work. How my journey, I'm going to be as succinct as I possibly can so that everybody has a fair shot at giving their testimony of their connection with them. But so my journey began in 99, 2000. I went through an experience as a Christian that none of my elders or deacons had an answer to give me, and I was left to riddle that out on my own for the next 10 years. 99, 2000. The internet, if you could reach it at 56K, was littered with with windows spanned that you had to spend 30 minutes closing before you could ever get to any search criteria. So that yielded no fruit then. In 2010, 11, in that area, I had the idea come to me, maybe a decade later, the internet might be a little bit more fruitful in providing me some answers to the experience I had in 99. And so I did a search, which landed me on L.A. Marzulli's forum. L.A. Marzulli back then did a daily briefing online on his website. He had a forum in which he opened the forum to people to comment and chat on his daily briefings. And on his forum, I met a person by the name of Rose Diepstra. Rose Diepstra was his original editor for his books. And Rose, when she saw my posts and the kind of topics that I was addressing or discussing or interested in, messaged me and said, "Hey, you seem to have a lot of understanding or knowledge about this kind of thing. There's a bunch of people like you. You should really be on this forum." And she gave me a link to the original Watcher website and the original Watcher forum that Mark was sharing here just a little bit ago. And at the time that I joined, Dude 5 had last posted 6 months previously and hadn't been heard from since. But I didn't know that was him. Anyway, so that being on that forum, I of course came across David's website, which I was ingesting daily as much as I could. I probably went through that old website 30 times, every link, just digesting everything and trying to dissect and understand everything David had to say on there, including all those little ads and everything that were there. I remember seeing them and they're burned into my mind. And then Tom Horn published around in that time, his first publishing of the collection. And I remember seeing the collection come out, and at the time I couldn't purchase it individually, so I individually purchased the book Temple at the Center of Time. And I remember reading that, and by the time I got through reading it, I was so blown away. I was sharing with anybody and everybody around me in my sphere at the time. I was just letting them know, you guys have got to read this. You can't give me a answer. You cannot argue with the findings in this book of just how magnificent and wonderful first our God is, but how beautifully laid out David had written, unarguably through math, God's timestamp on history. And then, of course, the collection came out, and I read Cydonia and was further blown away. By the time I got through reading it like the third time, it dawned on me that I could have the chance to reach out to the author. This was in October of 2012. So I remember going to the forum and, is there any way that I could speak with David? And he said, well, he's on the website. One person responded, he's on the website. This is his username in 2012. And then Rose commented, oh, sorry, Chad, I'm sorry. I thought you knew. Dave passed away in January. I still get emotional. I was like, man, I just missed the opportunity to speak to one of the greatest minds of our lifetime on the face of the earth. And I wasn't going to get a chance to talk to him. But his book, and this is before I ever got a chance to be introduced to now who is one of my best friends, Mark. It's blows my mind to even comprehend that today, but I'll set those emotions aside. Reading David's work, I happen to have Labyrinth and Cydonia sitting there in reading that, at the same time I was going through Torah portions, and I was coming across Deuteronomy 28 and 29, and then corresponding verses in scriptures, Matthew and Mark and Luke, about the destruction of Jerusalem. And having those books and reading through the scriptures about the destruction of Jerusalem, I had known that there was a monument, the world's monument, the world power. Rome had erected a monument called the Arch of Titus, which was sat upon the emblem, the image of Janus in a quadriga, 4-horse-drawn chariot. I was like, wait a second. I'm reading about all these things and how the elite, the mystics, the seers, and the those who were in the know, how they communicated history and what's actually happening, and how God says, do not erect idols and totems and things. And here Rome does it. And I'm reading Cydonia, going through that. I was like, no, this can't be true. I'll just condense it down to, if it hadn't have been for that book, I would not have written my book or found any of the findings that I did, which in and of itself, and I give credit in my book to David and Mark, the foundation, which led me to be able to, from 2016 through 21, go and speak at conferences myself and share many things about things in history. Again, all because of what David did. It literally changed my entire life. I don't know how. I know Tim says basically the same thing in his foreword, but it's not just Tim Alberino that was affected. My whole life was affected and changed too because of this work. And it's an honor and privilege to be able to speak with you, Mark, and the rest of you, Tom, and everybody, Ticey, and share in this joyful occasion of the relaunch of the book. What an honor and privilege. Thank you for letting me be here and tell this story.
Thanks, Chad.
Incredible.
Yeah, first time I heard something like that was from Jim Wilhelmsen. I think you guys know Jim. I don't know if he's around still anymore, but this is at Dave's lecture, and Jim was maybe it's just me, but he was vibrating when he came up and started talking to Dave. He was vibrating. He's like such a fan just right off the bat. And another interesting thing happened, so Cydonia comes out and Michael Heiser and Dave are kind of arguing together. And you know how academics are, well, I'm working on my dissertation and who are you? That was kind of the attitude I kind of detected from Michael. And I love Michael. I really, really do. I don't want to say anything bad about him at all. But I mean, I could see a hint of that. After Dave's lecture, that completely changed, left forever. Changed to huge respect. Though Michael and Dave still had their differences, over the years. But I just thought that was a sort of interesting story. I mean, you're talking about 2003, and Dave and Michael were talking before that even. So anyhow, I just really appreciate everybody who took the time to join us this evening. What is it, Monday? I don't know. Time goes fast. I mean, the Super Bowl. I mean, it was so important that our minds got.
Hey, Mark, do me a favor, Mark. There was a story that you had that you'd shared at one point about Dave giving. Maybe it was a talk at Roswell, and there was a Mason in the audience, and apparently this gentleman became utterly irate. Like, who told you all this stuff? Do you remember this story?
Yeah. It was not at Roswell. It was later on. I think David went to a resort area called Joshua Tree, or it's in Joshua Tree. And The guy was a colonel. I won't say his name. I'll probably be wrong anyway, but he worked for NASA and he was a photo archiver. And so Dave came back and he said, yeah, I gave my talk and everything. And right after the talk, the guy that had gone before me came up and he looked really irate, very, just red in the face, angry. And he said, of course, the punishments for revealing these type of secrets. Dave said, yeah, but I'm not a Mason. And he abruptly just stopped talking to him and left. And then later on, he came down for dinner wherever they were eating, and he had changed it to more informal attire, but he was wearing one of those sort of Western ties, the rope ties, whatever they call those, but it was a big square and compass, big
Called a
silver one.
bolo.
And from then on, he and Dave were like the best. He was just, Dave, come stay with me, and and yeah, and Dave said, this is me saying, he said, you know why? Because if you are a red pill or a red lodge Mason, if you meet people that seem to understand the secrets, it's because they themselves have been touched by the wand of Hermes. So there's that.
Wow.
But Dave told me, and I was thinking about this today, as irate as I'd see him become or irritated, it was because there were certain things that he didn't understand when he was younger, right? And he said he felt exasperated. He said, I'm going to pray to the Lord. And I did. I prayed for a double portion of wisdom than Solomon had. That's quite audacious. But that's what he did. And he said, as I was writing, yeah, this is the thing. People ask, well, how come he wrote, why did he write the book so quickly? It was already there. He'd already written most of it and put it out on the Watcher website. But the Watcher website was formatted so poorly that most of the links had been lost. And I won't say who is responsible for that. But those articles still exist, though. They're all there. I think Ticey has an archive of all that too. But yeah, so he wrote the book really, really quickly. And I think the biggest problem was getting the pictures formatted correctly and, make sure he wasn't, he had to make a bunch of them with sort of an archaic method on his computer. But yeah, that's why he wrote it so quickly. He'd already thought of all these things. But he did a lot of other conferences, and I think he went to a sort of a new age version somewhere. I can't remember where that was, but the crowd was really, really new age. And when he started talking about the third fallen from heaven, he had a bunch of people walk out because they hated Christians. Just like a guy named Goro Adachi hated Christianity, but really liked Dave's work. Well, I think I've talked about that before. But.
Yeah. Ticey, I remember that there was a point when everybody was starting to ask about the book, and it was when Timothy Alberino did the book club. I think that was probably 2 years ago now, and you were trying to find the rights for it and everything like that. And can you share a little bit about what that adventure has been like for you in trying to find the rights, and now you've got the book in your hands, and what that whole emotional journey has been like for you?
Yeah, definitely. So back then I sort of heard randomly from Mark and from Raina too. Raina had texted me first. She's like, "Oh, hey, have you heard about this book, Birthright by this Timothy guy?" And and she's like, "Oh, he cites your dad in the book and stuff." And I'm like, "Oh no, I haven't heard about it yet." Kind of brought it to my attention, and so I looked into it, and then Mark started talking to me, and he's like, "Yeah, we're going through the a book club of Cydonia. I think I came in like partway through. I don't remember what chapter it was. Do you remember, Mark, when I came into the community?
It was like chapter 4.
It might have been chapter 3.
Yeah.
I gotta say though, were people asking, "Hey, is there a summary or some way I can like see a book club about that?" All I can say is join the Alberino community.
Mhm.
It is really outstanding. There's 17 podcasts where Timothy goes over every chapter and talks about the nuances, and it's a long time. I think the average for each one is like 2 hours too. But yeah, sorry, Tice, go ahead.
That's okay. Yeah, definitely. The community is a really great place to go if you need kind of like a companion, sort of like, since we did the summary of each chapter, it was really helpful for the book. So back then I started thinking about, we started thinking about like, what is the status of the book? There are a lot of errors in it, like maybe it could be better. And so we went and tried to figure out what was going on with that. We wanted to see, first of all, if we could redo it and edit it and fix the images. I think Mark and I both were like investigating kind of the status of that. And it kind of seemed like it was like in a limbo. It wasn't really actively, it was being printed, but the quality wasn't great. It wasn't what we wanted, and it wasn't what Dad would have wanted for it. So I kind of started looking into that more, and sort of discovered that it was kind of ambiguous what was going on with the rights to the book. So from there, I had to hire a lawyer, a probate lawyer, to deal kind of with like the will type stuff and like who got the rights after that, because there wasn't really a will for it. So I had to deal with that lawyer, and then I had to, once we established who got the rights to the book actually in the family, I had to go with another lawyer for intellectual property rights. And then she was really helpful in figuring out what the status was with the rights, and ultimately got the rights for my brother and I. And then we went from there, after that whole saga, to start thinking about republishing the book and what we wanted to do with it. And I started getting a hold of people and gathering people together to help work on it. And I also spent a lot of time working on it too. I went through and proofread it and did a lot of edits, grammar edits and sentence structure, but keeping, most of it as it is, as he wanted it. So there's not a lot of like changes to the main material. It's just like perfecting it.
What was it like going through stuff that your dad had written when, so to speak, the pen was in your hand now? How did that feel for you?
Lots of emotions. Going through it, really intensely, and going through multiple times, I'd be learning so much that maybe I hadn't noticed before. Some of the stuff I had to do research on with the links, I'd be diving into stuff even more and finding out so many things. Like, you could read the book and you'd be like, oh, he used this reference, and then you could go dive into that reference for like another couple hours and get sidetracked because there's so many things to dive into, in the book. It's so interesting. But so it was really like mind-opening, I think, too. But it also was really tough to like open the chapter again, like kind of like, sad, and but it like I had a lot of drive to get it done, I think, for that reason too, because I knew that he would want it to have been done better. because it wasn't really worked on like very much. It seemed like there was so many things that we ended up fixing that it really needed it. It really needed to be fixed, I think. So those editors weren't great.
And Dave knew that. I mean, if you have something that has errors introduced into it by the publisher, and he wasn't happy with the original way the images came out. I mean, they're so central to getting the concept across to the audience. But I mean, even the size format just sort of screamed, self-published conspiratorial trash. And that's the last thing he wanted people to think. And of course, mostly that's the type of attitude people had back then when the book came out. It's like, people asked me, does your brother really believe that? Mm-hmm. Or I'd like to let people ask you, well, so what is the book about? How do you explain Cydonia, the Secret Chronicles of Mars in one small paragraph to someone? You don't. And if you try, you sound really, well, the people that have no basis in faith, pretty conspiratorial. But the thing is, now it isn't, and it's just such a perfect time for a hardcover version, a professional version coming out. It's well deserved. That exasperation that Dave experienced, I did too, and I always felt sort of like I was his defender because he was too nice to people. I just get really just incensed with the kind of garbage I'd hear from people, but don't hear it very much anymore. So anyway, I just gotta say over and over, I really appreciate everybody's work on this because it's a great.
It's funny, Mark, because when you go from the car ride where you pull over and look at them right in the face and say, this is going to be in hardcover, and that finally hitting you last week when you sent over the picture of like, here's the hardcover in your hands, and I think about how ironic it is that in a very similar way as Dave is writing this book, and Ticey, this is for you because the errors and all of the misprint stuff like that, we all know how hard it is to write something out and to release it to the public that's not polished. And to think that there may have been a deliberate part of that, thinking, eventually Ticey's going to have this in her hands and I'm going to give her something to do, as kind of like a love note from your dad to say, I'm drawing you into my worlds and I'm drawing you into a place that is changing your life as much as your dad's work has changed all of our lives. It's pretty substantial. And to see what you've done to it now, and the fact that now I have to buy 2 of them because of Tom's artwork, and thanks to that, which I'm now I want to buy 20 copies because you just shared the whole thing of it. I think it was interesting that when I had read the first time I read Birthright through, I totally went past the preface because I wasn't sure where Tim was coming from. And so the second time that, after I made it through and I read it the second time, I noticed the mention to Cydonia, the Secret Chronicles of Mars. And Tim, as you'll see as you listen to the audio of it again, and it profoundly changed Tim's life just as much as it changed Chad's life. And so I went out and got a copy of it, the double copy. So, well, here's the Temple at the Center of Time first. I'm going to go and read that. And then I'm going to get over to the Secret Chronicles of Mars. And as I'm learning new vocabulary, what's a centellia? What's, who are all these new characters? Because I've, been reading the Bible for 35 years. And this isn't Sunday school material, but glorifying God through all of it. And then there is the point where I went back at it a second time, and everything started clicking into place, and it was absolutely incredible seeing how many disparate pictures your dad had brought together in the book, from different cultures and from ancient history and from the Sumerian Kings list, and things that you're just realizing the path of history that God has been intervening in this solar system. It's absolutely mind-boggling. And when we started going into the book club and there were no copies left available and everybody's freaking out, and Ticey, where's the book? Can you do this? And I remember, Mark, I had gotten a hold of you because the bookstore 3 miles from my house had 2 copies left of the double book set, and they were asking $70 a piece when Amazon was selling them for $2,500. And so I went over to the bookstore and I said, "You still have 2 copies of this? I can pick it up for how about if I give you $100 for both of them?" And they said, "Okay." And I get back to the house and I said, "I better call Tim. I've got 2 copies of this book, like $5,000 worth of whatever." Tim says, "I don't need a copy." And then I get a hold of Mark, and Mark says, "I've got a copy. I don't need one." And I'm thinking, what am I going to do with these 2 books? And I ended up sending one to Eric Rowland. And then Timothy had been interviewing Randall Carlson on the Alberino analysis thing. And Randall and he were talking about Secret Cataclysm and all this. He says, "You got to read Dave Flynn's book." "Oh, how do I get one?" "Tim, I happen to have 1 copy left. Andre, would you mind sending that to Randall?" And that's really what Mark, you and I discussed, is where does this book go to get into the hands of people who are going to relate to it and whose lives will be changed next? And now it's in the hands of Randall Carlson and so many more people who've been, whether knowingly or unknowingly, waiting for this book to come out, and how many more lives it's going to change. And I just thank you all for the incredible effort that you put into getting to this day, the celebratory day of the reprint. So amazing stuff.
Just, Andre, real quick to add,
Yeah,
because
Chad.
I've been in this David Flynn world now for, I guess I didn't realize, closer to a decade than not. One of the things you mentioned, how many people have been influenced, and Mark and I have had a number of conversations about this. David's work had to be one of the most plagiarized books and videos I had ever seen. After Dave's videos got uploaded to YouTube, and there was one particular channel that finally broke David's lecture down into like 10 and 12-minute clips. After that happened, I noticed that the views went up by exponential on that page. Then you started seeing, and this was about the time of YouTube's explosion as well. I can't tell you the number of people, personalities that it came on that were starting to talk about these things and then never mentioned the fact that they didn't develop this information. This isn't stuff that they came up with. It was like, when am I going to hear Dave's name mentioned? Because I heard what they were saying before, but they were announcing it as if they had made this grand discovery. And granted, God can do anything he wants. He can open people's understanding to see these things too. And what greater, acknowledgement than you can get than the affirmation of somebody else making the same discovery and coming to the same conclusion.
Nobody else is asking for a double portion of Solomon's wisdom. I'm sorry. I'm tossing them out the door right now. That belongs to Dave and Dave alone.
But the way David articulated the information so as to not only help you understand, but make you curious to know more.
Yeah.
I think that was one of the greatest qualities to his work, is that David's work made you curious to know or find out what he knew so that you can see what he saw. But his work is probably one of the most plagiarized works in this area of literature, I think, to date. And I think that itself speaks volumes to the impact that Cydonia has had, whether acknowledged or unacknowledged. But I just wanted to add that piece because you had brought it up. The number of books. Tom Horn himself greatly inspired his book Zenith. I think it was 2012, and then he redid it as 2016. But I remember hearing Tom Horn do a lecture and referring to David Flynn's work. You mentioned Rob Skiba mentioning it. There are a number of others who were very predominant in this Christian, L.A. Marzulli and others, whom, if you lived in that era and you saw when they published their information, you could not help watch what these other personalities were putting out and what they were saying and saying, that's not your original work. I know where you got that information. I know where you sourced this great understanding for this book you have out there. Now, Tom acknowledged it, but there are many others who did not acknowledge that they were getting sourced information from the idea of David. And Mark, we've had this discussion over and over, how many people were so shocked, I think, so shocked by the information that David put forth that they didn't want to hear, they couldn't. The cognitive dissonance with the information that David was sharing was too great, I think, for most people at that day, and it is today. There's an explosion of curious minds today who have they're not accepting this piecemeal, spoon-fed information. They're seeing through it and they're wanting something. And I'm so happy to see that the original is out there. I'll share this one last thing. Mark and I were talking last week or the week before, and how can you sum up Cydonia? And Cydonia, if you want to put it into an explanation that might make somebody curious, is everyone has seen a roadmap in which in the corner there is a key, that you must understand the key to understand the map you're looking at. And if there is anything that Cydonia is, it is that key to history. Yeah. It is the key to looking at history and understanding it appropriately. And that's what Cydonia did. I can now read history with the right perspective. So anyway, to answer two of those things for you, Andrea, and speak to them. Thank you. I may butt in again. I can't shut up.
Right on, Chad.
I love this family. So
that's because they're insanely lovable. I think that with Dean, I was wondering if there's anything you wanted to add to this while you're here, because I know you were a big part of this too.
Hey everyone. Yeah, this has been great to just hear history of the book. I heard of it, a number of years ago, but I didn't read it until after I read Birthright and hearing Tim talk about it. So yeah, it's great to contribute in the little way I did. Yeah, it's really exciting to see this come out, and I too am struggling to find an easy way to explain it to people. Hey, like a book came out that I've been helping with. What's it about? So great to hear your perspectives there.
Oh, amazing.
I like what Representative Burlinson said about he's like, it's like Ancient Aliens, but before Ancient Alien.
Well, that was, I remember what we were eating at the conference lunch, and Burleson was sitting right next to us, and he did ask us that question. I can't remember if it was you or myself that came up with what it was about.
I think I let you go with that one.
Yeah, but I did give him a copy of the David Flynn collection, and he took it, and apparently he was reading Cydonia back on the way home in the plane.
Somebody cited
someone at the conference took a picture of him and said, hey, ratted on him. He's reading Cydonia. So that's great. That worked out really well.
Amazing. Is there anybody else who'd like to share anything while we're rolling?
I had two questions from the community. One was from Joshua Taylor, who's here, but did you catch? Your question was, who designed the new cover? It looks great. Did you catch when we were talking about the cover?
Joshua, you are muted.
How about now?
There you go. Yeah, that's good.
Oh, perfect. No, I didn't catch that, Ticey. I came in a little late. Sorry.
Okay. So the book cover was designed by Tom Carroll.
Oh, nice.
And he showed us earlier a bunch of other options that we had the choice of, which are also awesome. So
you'll have to watch the replay.
Yeah, Tom, you wanna bring those up again real quick?
You want to do it again?
You know what? I could definitely watch that movie twice.
All right. Okay. It's funny because the covers are probably the most, visually impressive, but actually the most work was the images inside the book, I think. But just quickly go through them. This was one of the first ones. I think.
I so love that one. Coffee cup T-shirt. Oh. Incredible.
I don't know, could post them on the forum maybe, or is that a bad idea? I don't know if you wanted to.
I want to save some just in case there's like a.
Yeah.
If we want another.
Yeah.
Another color paperback or something, because we have the black and white paperback, but.
Yeah, you could do a signature edition where you print your signature in the front and then do one like that.
That one is signed, right?
It's also, that was something worth mentioning, is that the paperback has black and white images and the hardcover has color images. So if you want to see everything in full color, you've got to get the hardback. It's just a lot more expensive to print the entire book in full color. So
absolutely.
So I gave people two options.
Now you also have a folder in here, I'm assuming, of some of the full color images. Is there anything in there you'd like to share while you've got the screen on?
You mean the interior, or?
Yes, sir.
Let's see.
Well done on the cover, Tom. It came out great.
Thank you. You want just to go through these, Andre, or what?
Well, Ticey, are you game for that? You want to take a look at a few of these again?
It's a lot.
We can look at a couple if you want. That was another question. This one's from Jim Leonard. He said, wondering if it will have the graphics that the original had.
I'll just open up the PDF. That's probably, let's see.
So it does have all the images from the original. I think it might have more. I need to double check, but we remastered them. What would you call it?
It's like image restoration, or there was a few different options that we had to that we could use to improve it. Hang on, it's not showing properly.
And so the images were fixed by Tom and Dean as well.
Yeah, Dean was a great help because it would have taken me twice as long without his help. But yeah, there was three different images. What I did was when I had a low res image, I would first go on Google and see if the original was still somewhere out there in a higher resolution, because that's always the best if you can find the original that's not compressed.
Right.
And in some versions that was the case. A lot of times it wasn't, so we had to use. Great thing about AI these days is you've got AI image upscalers who they basically fill in the missing information in the images to get a higher resolution, and that was a very large part of the process, as well as finding the original images. And in some cases we had to redraw, like for example this diagram here was just redrawn.
Amazing.
This is what Dave wanted. I mean, this is it right there.
It's all full
Wow.
color, and
with good illustrations, the concepts that he's going over,
This one right
just
here,
prior to all these
the
layouts.
Dendera Zodiac. Wow.
Yeah.
Now, did you get this, Tyce? I know that you have the Dendera Zodiac that is in color too. Did you grab that one as well?
Well, so I have this image here, but he put notes on it and he colored it himself. He was a painter too. I don't know if people know that about him, but so a
I don't
little
think we knew that.
work of art, and then he framed it. And I have that as well. So yeah, have it on. Well, I don't have it on my wall at the moment, but I didn't want it to fall. Our house is kind of old. Walls are not great.
Oh. Well, Dean and Tom, I got to hand it to you. That looks absolutely incredible. Oh, that's one of my favorites right there.
yeah, it's interesting because the first version I actually bought of this book was the ebook from the Tom Horn Publishing Group, and none of the images worked in that. So I was like, this book really needs the images. So
Yeah.
I had to get the physical copy, but then I was like, this is way too big to comfortably read. So
the man,
yeah,
the eagle, the lion, and the bull, right there.
Yeah, we were able to fit everything on a 6 by 9 inch page pretty well. We just had to create more pages for the images. So
Yeah, Ticey, if you can get a picture of that painted or colored picture of whatever your dad has, that'd be an awesome sweatshirt. Have that on there. That would be just to print it on something. That'd be awesome.
That's a conversation starter right there.
Yeah.
I was explaining cyclic cataclysm to some friends of my dad's last night on their coffee table, which happened to be a round coffee table. And had I had the shirt, Ticey, I would have been all set.
You know, how funny is it that the most basic concepts of how this world we live in operates actually works are the show-stopping questions to be asked.
Look at that. That is fantastic.
This is all Dean's work, so props to Dean.
Oh, Dean.
Yeah, thanks.
No, thank you.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Wow.
Really good. Yeah, this one was just redrawn to vector graphic. Yeah. But yeah, like all this stuff.
It's like a dream come true. I just can't tell you guys. Thanks.
Raina's giving us claps. Thank you, Raina.
This is incredible.
So yeah, if you want the color, you've got to get the hardcover.
Yeah.
We heard from Tice. I would be interested. I already know she's probably going to be mad at me, but Raina, we got Ticey's perspective of going through this, but Raina shared in the growing and going through this as well.
The quince.
Yeah.
I'd be interested to hear from Raina her thoughts about
what the process has been like watching this all happen.
Has been like with her and for her and from her perspective.
I'd like to hear that too, because she turned me on to Birthright. So yeah.
So one of the things that I will intercept before Raina drops on here is that for anybody who's watching this in posterity, the previous version of Cydonia, most of these images that you just saw looked like they had been faxed over a bad fax machine. So just to know what a blessing it is for you to be able to see this in full living unrasterized vector sharpness. You can count blessings of all the hard work that went into getting here. And at that point, Raina, how would you like to share what this has been like for you? And naturally, you'll have to unmute yourself just a bit.
Um, it's just been amazing. All I can say is I am so proud of Ticey and what she's done with all of this. It's like it seems like a miracle, even though we know it's not really a miracle. Um, but yeah, I really didn't have any part in this. I just am supporting Ticey and everybody in the community, and it's been really fun to be a part of it. I like talking to Ticey, like we text and stuff about this stuff, and it's like more people are getting on board, and it's been really cool to see.
What do you guys have been texting about for the past year that this has been going on? What kind of things are you doing to, through the hurdles that you've had to get over?
Just kind of like the behind the scenes things of like the hiccups and stuff and the annoying things that have been going on in publishing or republishing a book, as I can imagine. But um, yeah, she's really just been doing it, just taking the reins and doing it all herself. It's actually incredible. Well, of course, with the help of everybody mentioned, but yeah, it's absolutely amazing.
You know what's nice about my daughter and Tice? They read everything I recommend. They're so
What?
nice to me. They just read
That,
it.
wow. And Ticey, what's it meant to you over the last year to have Raina as your texting venting post or whatever you want to, that support? How's that helped you?
Well, she's always been there for me, like we were always really close since we were kids. What did you say, Rena? It was like, what did you call us since our dads are twins? So
Oh yeah, our dads are twin brothers, so we're genetically half sisters.
basically, yeah.
Yeah,
Another
um,
one.
sisters from another mother.
Yeah.
Twin
That
sisters
is
from different mothers. That's
that is
exactly what it is.
technically factual, isn't it? That's kind of weird.
Weird.
Monozygotic twins. Yeah.
But
So you
yeah,
can,
so it's been really helpful because I just, I know I can just text her or call her whenever I'm having a problem, and I'm like, what do you think
Hey,
about this?
I'm sorry, the phrase, did somebody get your zygote? Somebody got your goat. It came, anyway,
That's
I'm
funny.
just
That's
sorry.
funny.
Highbrow
no,
humor. I don't.
that's
Yeah,
good.
being someone's support is nothing to overlook because we all need support, and just any amount of support is so appreciated. So yeah.
Well, the great thing about all of this is moving forward um, into the weeks and months and years to come as the hardcover begins to take wings. And if the transformation that has happened to so many folks since 2002 continues to grow exponentially, as I imagine it will, because we're really in a different point in history now in 2026 than we were then. I think that not only will the support that you've already begun to build be more important than ever, because the eyes that are on you now are greater than ever, and the focus and the attention on your dad's work, your brother's work, your uncle's work, uh, is going to be magnified. And it's so incredible seeing how you've literally become a part of that. We all have, to a lesser degree than you have, and the fact that you've shared it with us and the changes, absolutely incredible. Thank you.
Thanks for being supportive. It's a really great community that we have.
I'd say so.
Yeah. When I put this out, I'm definitely going to put another link to the Alberino analysis group. And I got to say, though, the first time I saw Timothy or heard any of his work, it wasn't that I read his book first. I saw him doing a series on his channel about birthright. And I listened to, just seconds, and I thought, articulate And when he started, what he was talking about was so spot on. I thought, here is someone who takes Dave's work, comprehends it, discerns it. That's a rarity with a lot of people that have read it or not quite read it. And then go on from that, really Vulcan-like logical fashion. And I really appreciated that. And then I was really, really impressed when he did the whole thing in Spanish as well. So like, it's been an honor, to be a part of his community, and the people here are, exceptional. So
Tim really does feel like as though
I appreciate everybody who worked on it and joined us tonight too. So thanks a lot.
Oh, thank you, Mark. Thank you, Ticey. Thank you, Raina. Thank you, Brenda.
Valerie said thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Brent, do you have a question? Do you know how to raise the hand thing?
Okay, I had to unmute. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, so Ticey, now that you've done this, do you have any plans or ideas about writing a book of your own someday?
Maybe. I have thought about it. I feel like it's more like, what would I write it about? There's so many things. I'd have to figure out what my focus is, But yeah, I'm trying to push Mark to write another book too. Or
yes.
maybe, a companion book to Cydonia or something.
Well, honestly, Timothy asked me, do you want to do a book club, series of your book? And the main reason I did not want to do that is because I didn't want to take the focus away from Cydonia before it came out. Finished.
Okay. Yeah.
Very good.
But I will, I think, do mine if there's enough interest in the community. And after that, I have a lot of stuff I've written over the years that I could throw another, probably a more intelligently designed book together. But yeah, I would do that.
I loved Labyrinth, by the way. So incredible work. Good question, Brent.
Well, with that, I think we've been almost 45 minutes, 40 minutes, over an hour. So if there isn't anybody else with a question, I think I'll wrap it up. And I'm looking forward to putting this out on my channel